Israel is conducting a series of heavy airstrikes across Gaza City this evening as the death toll in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict there continues to rise. This week, Senator Bernie Sanders wrote a blistering op-ed for the New York Times on the situation in Gaza, calling on the United States to no longer be apologists for the right-wing Netanyahu government. One line, though, stood out to me, the end line, Palestinian lives matter. It's not a line you hear very often, if at all, from members of Congress in this country. Now, you might think, well, why is that even controversial? Of course Palestinian lives matter, just as Israeli lives matter. All lives matter on all sides. And they do. Israelis have been suffering this past week, living under the terror of rocket attacks and air raid sirens. 10 Israeli civilians have been killed. 10 Israelis have been killed by rocket fire in this current round of violence, and we should condemn Hamas for that. All lives matter. But the point of the phrase Black Lives Matter isn't to suggest, as you know, that white lives don't matter. It's that black people are disproportionately the victims of police brutality, of suffering right now. And that's the case in the occupied territories too, with the phrase Palestinian lives matter, because the disproportionality of the violence is against the Palestinians. Don't take my word for it. Look at the numbers. In the 2008-2009 Gaza war, UN figures show 3 Israeli civilians were killed. According to the Palestinian Center for Human Rights, at least 926 Palestinian civilians were killed. In 2012, UN figures show 4 Israeli civilians were killed, while 101 Palestinian civilians were killed during that conflict. In 2014, UN figures show 6 Israeli civilians died in that conflict, while 1,462 Palestinian civilians were killed in that same conflict. And this past week, the numbers for civilians are less clear, but at least 188 Palestinians in total, including 55 children, have been killed in Gaza, compared to 10 Israelis. All of these deaths are tragic, but the disparity in numbers really shouldn't surprise us. One side is the occupier, and the other side is occupied. One side has some of the most powerful, advanced, and high-tech weaponry on planet Earth, and the other side just doesn't.